What is the strongest unit in Genshin Impact? A long-standing discussion where you could talk with hours with someone about who is the best character in Genshin Impact. Well, I think there's a selection of 3 characters who all 3 fit the agenda of being very close contenders for the best unit in Genshin Impact. And I would like to talk with you today about these 3 units and why I think they all 3 could easily fit to be the best unit in Genshin Impact. Now, one big disclaimer, this is my personal opinion and my personal take on this subject. I would really love to hear what you think about this subject in the comments below. So leave your top 3 list or just your best unit in the game in the comment section below and I will listen to it. Now, to begin with the first unit, have you ever had a problem where an enemy was not dead within 2 seconds? Well, for that we have the Raiden Shogun. Have you ever wanted to just use elemental bursts all the time? Well, for that we have the Raiden Shogun. The Raiden Shogun is both a support DPS and a battery at the same time. She does insane damage with her ultimate, allowing you to do a massive slash of a ton of damage, which usually hits around 100 to 200k. And then you can still go berserk mode, just cutting enemies into pieces with your electro blade. She has insane damage for the 7-8 seconds that she is on the field. And when you swap her out, she is still buffing your team and buffing your energy recharge. So the flow of gameplay increases. You're speeding up because of this battery. And you can just keep casting bursts. So having the Raiden Shogun in your team just increases your damage from all your units. As well as just buffing the numbers straight up. The Raiden Shogun does so much for her team. Both by dealing a huge amount of damage itself, enabling a ton of electro reactions, unaliving all the enemies, and even when she's not on the field she is still buffing your team a huge amount, and that is why she earns a top spot. Next up we have Kazuha. Now Kazuha is a bit of a different unit, as he also buffs the team, but he also strips the resistances of an enemy, and his buffs are much more significant than those of the Shogun, as you can really notice the damage increase that this man gives you. He is great at grouping up enemies and usually already kills them before you can even swap to your damage dealer. He scales really well with elemental mastery and can even be built with some crit to really deal some damage himself. While his ultimate and E both have a reasonably short cooldown, so he can be used a lot for the downtime of your other characters. And he is also really awesome to play. I mean, plunging on enemies is just amazing. The grouping of enemies, stripping their resistances and using all the elements to his advantage makes Kazuha an amazing unit on its own. And our last unit doesn't even need an introduction. Do you like to buy one and get one free? Well, that's Bennett. You get a healer, you get an attack buffer, and he even applies pyro pretty well to enemies like Lectors. Bennett is an amazing unit because he just does 2 things in one unit. He gives a huge attack buff to your team, so all of your units hit very hard. And you can snapshot things like Xiangling Burst to just deal a ton more damage than it usually does, while simultaneously healing your team with this burst. Bennett's burst just does so much in a single ability, it's insane. He can be slapped into any Abyss team, as you can use him to heal your team whenever you take some damage, while also just increasing your total damage output by a massive amount. I would also like to say that even though it's a bit of a stigma, if you're not using Eula or some elemental reaction teams, you can freely C6 Bennett, but be careful if it fits into your account, and his damage becomes even more, as he can buff teams like Xiangling Tartaglia a ton, and his C6 helps a little bit with that, because you get more pyro damage. Bennett is always going to be the best 4-star in the game for me, as he is incredibly universal, can be slotted into any team, and he is just an insane boyo. So why do I think these 3 units are truly the top 3 within Genshin Impact? Well, let's talk a little bit about versatility. These 3 units are all 3 extremely versatile, meaning they can be slotted into a large amount of different team comps, and that means your team comp could always use a Kazuha, could always use a Bennett, or could always use a Shogun to improve your teams. There are very few team comps that don't profit from having one of these units in your team. This means that a team like the old national team gets improved by having the Raiden Shogun be released and included inside of the national team, while simultaneously still having the Shogun be able to be put into Geo team, she can put into the Taglia Taser comp. She can be put with Eula. Because of this reason and this versatility, these units gain a lot of appreciation. Aside from that, these units bring more than one thing to the table. They bring more than just damage or just utility. They do a lot of things for a single unit, enabling you to build a team comp around them and needing to fill less spots. Something like Bennett, you can use just Bennett for your damage buff, and you have 3 slots left for anything that isn't healing or damage, which is massive, because then you can fit in maybe CC, or you can fit in a Mona, you can fit in good elemental reactions, and you have a lot more space in your teams due to this. And because of that, I think these 3 units are the best units in Genshin Impact right now. I would love to hear from you what you think about this. And I would love to hear what you think are the best units in the game in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this bit of a video, and I wish you a very nice day.